Alrighty boys, welcome back to another step-by-step video. Now, to get us started here today, I'm actually going to be doing a different style of video for today. This is just going to be a video on how to control recoil, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be showing you guys how to control some of the harder to control guns in this game, like the SMG-12, the F2, the SMG-11. But long story short, the reason why I wanted to create this video is because one of my subscribers by the name of DHMO7577 suggested this idea to me, and so I just wanted to go ahead and I do appreciate the feedback, by the way, so I'm going to happily make the video and try to help you guys out as much as I can so you guys can have better recoil control yourselves. But without further ado, to get us started here, I'm going to be starting on the F2. And now something that I want you guys to know is that attachments are really useful to help you control recoil. And in the background here, I'm just going to be showing you guys the recoil pattern. And long story short, what you want to do to control recoil is you want to basically pull in the opposite direction of where the bullet trail is going, basically. So in the instance of the F2, it's down and to the left. Now I'm just going through each individual attachment. Now the flash hider is for vertical recoil, the compensator is for horizontal, the muzzle brake is for tap firing, the suppressor doesn't do anything and besides make your gun quiet, and then the extended barrel increases the recoil, but it does also increase the damage as well, which is also so for lower recoil guns, that's when you want to use the extended barrel. Okay, so in this next clip, basically you're going to see on my current sensitivity, I cannot control the F2 whatsoever. So what you want to do in instances like this where your sensitivity doesn't allow you to control the recoil is you want to actually turn up your ACOG sensitivity. And so that's what I end up doing on this. Now I do perfectly land it and guess what sensitivity that I need to bring my sense up to be able to control the F2, which for my specific sensitivity it was 32 for the F2 with the extended barrel. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just pull down here. I'm just showing you guys the example here, but long story short, in this game, if your sensitivity is very high, it's going to be a lot easier for you to control recoil because all you have it's more pull, basically more pull on the when like when you pull down, you're going to be, since your sensitivity is higher, it's going to make it a little bit easier to pull down and pull in an opposite direction of where the bullet traces are going. So as long as your sensitivity is high in relation with the gun that you're using, you'll be able to control any gun, basically, long story short. There is one thing that I will say when it comes to controlling recoil that is very important, is the perfect way to master a gun's recoil is just practice, muscle memory, building your sensitivity for it, using the gun multiple times. Now personally, I don't use the SMG-12 like at all, but long story short, the SMG-12 is a gun that has a lot of horizontal recoil, so left and right recoil, basically. So it's very hard to actually get your bullets to go in a full-on straight line for the whole entire mag. Now, what you're seeing in the background here is just me upping my sensitivity, just so that way I can control more of the vertical recoil. But like I said, the main issue with the SMG-12 is that it has a lot of horizontal recoil, and the best way for you to be able to control this gun is to build the muscle memory. Build that muscle memory. Use the gun. Basically what I'm saying is use that gun as much as possible, so that way you get used to the recoil and your hands, your whatever, will get used to it. And this is on controller, by the way, just so you guys know. But that's why I'm saying hands. Use your thumbs, basically, specifically, not your hands, but your thumb needs to get used to using that gun, basically, in a nutshell. And that's going to be your ultimate way of controlling a gun. But the ways that I'm talking about is just building your sensitivity for it. Like, as you can see in this clip, if I burst fire, then I'm okay. You see what I'm saying? But the ultimate thing that's going to make your recoil better is by practice, using it in games, and build your sense for it. Find a sensitivity that you like with this gun. Like I said, the higher the sensitivity is, the less pull you need to do. However, you don't want to have your sensitivity be super high that you can't, you know what I mean, get your crosshair onto people to be able to actually kill them. You want it to just be high enough to the point where when you pull down, it's comfortable. You can take gunfights with it. You can kill enemies, and you know what I mean. Keep, you know what I mean. It has to flow. Okay. I think flow is probably one of the most important things that I want to talk about. Like, your sensitivity needs to feel comfortable. Okay. Like, you don't want to, you know what I mean, have a sensitivity that doesn't feel comfortable to yourself, because when you go into a ranked game, if your sensitivity doesn't feel good, then obviously you're not going to play at your top performance, and you're going to whiff shots, you know what I mean? But I do highly recommend, if you want to main a gun like the SMG-12, SMG-11, F2, build your sensitivity for that gun, and then every other gun afterwards is just practice, playing ranked games, that type of thing. But the next gun here we have is the SMG-11, which is my personal gun that I use probably the most in ranked. I'm actually a mute main, also an ace main as well, so I'm just full on support. But long story short, in the background here, I'm just going through all of the attachments, showing you guys the recoil pattern. Now, for the SMG-11, it goes up and to the right usually. I have seen some instances with the SMG-11 where it goes up and to the left, up and down. So it's kind of a weird gun, but long story short, you just pull down into the left. Usually that'll be good enough for most engagements. Like I said, it can bounce up and to the left at sometimes, depending on how the recoil wants to go, but usually down and to the left is good enough for the gun. But for my sensitivity, which is the 1x scope being on 20, my vertical sensitivity is on 35, and that's usually good enough for me to be able to kill people from close range, long range sometimes, and mid range. But typically with like the SMGs, you want to be able to kill people from within, I want to say like 15 meters about is your sweet spot, and everything past that is going to be like, you know what I mean, how hot you are when you are using the gun. So like, if I kill 2 people, then I know that I'm on the cusp of a clip. If I kill another person, then I'm going to be like, all right, I'm about to swing someone from that's 35 meters away from me with the SMG-11. If I'm really hot, then I'll land the shots. Okay, but SMGs, you probably don't want to be swinging people at like 30 meters plus, 20 meters plus. Now, luckily, most fights in this game are within that like 10 to 15 meter range. So using an SMG-11, SMG-12, F2 in those distances will just give you a really big advantage, just because of the fact that they have that high fire rate, they have that high damage. So I strongly recommend that when you are building your sensitivity, that you build for one of these guns, one of these really strong guns in the meta right now, because if you can get good at one of these guns, then not only will it help you win more gunfights, but you'll also feel like a beast when you do it, because the guns are they're just so fun to use. Now, for the last gun that I'm going to be talking about is going to be the Bearing 9. Now, the Bearing 9 is not as heavy recoil-wise as the SMG-11, SMG-12. It is the weaker variant of the SMGs, though. And I'm just going to be pretending like Clash's gun doesn't exist, Dorn's gun doesn't exist, because, or Dorn's SMG, her secondary, with the one that doesn't have the scope. I'm just going to pretend like those don't exist because I never use them, because, you know, why would you in the current meta? But unless you're a weirdo that plays Clash, you know, I'm not a weirdo that plays Clash or Thorn. So I mean, sometimes I do, but you know, anyway, moving on. The Bearing 9 is another gun that I consider to be one of those really powerful secondaries. Now, with this one, once again, it's very similar to the SMG-11, where the recoil goes up and down, up and to the right. So 9 times out of 10, you just want to pull down and to the left, down, straight up and down, or straight down basically, to control the recoil. And like I said, once again, you want to take your SMG gunfights in that 10 to 15 meter area, and if you have to go past it, just make sure you're hot, because you might miss a couple of shots, which is totally okay. It happens, but depending on how hot you are, you want to stay in between that 1 meter to 15 meter area. Maybe with the bearing 9, you could probably get away with like 20 meters, and you'll probably still be able to get kills if you can control the recoil pretty well. And one thing that I do want to really make it a point across is that when you do build your sensitivity for one of these guns, it is practice. Use the gun as much as possible. You have to get your thumbs, your hand, if you're on mouse, you have to get your body, your thumb, your wrist, whatever. You got to get the muscle memory built in if you want to control these guns and make the recoil as good as possible. Now, one thing I really want to specify in this game is that you don't have to use one of these like super strong weapons. What I personally would do is if you're not comfortable using one of these weapons, it's not the end of the world, is basically what I'm trying to say. It's very viable, and I do this a lot. Like I said, I can't, on my sensitivity, I can't control the SMG-12, I can't control the F2, and that's okay. And you know why that's okay is because a lot of the other guns in this game are very strong. So what I'd recommend is when you're not comfortable with those guns, use a gun that has very low recoil. Like in this clip, I'm using that Zofia LMG, and I'm hitting literally every single bullet. You know what I mean? Maybe missing like 2 on Zofia LMG. You know what I mean? So if you are struggling with those weapons, like, it is perfectly okay to go use a lower recoil gun. And I'm actually going to be showing you guys an example, multiple examples actually, of other low recoil guns that I like using, and that will help you, you know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, using low recoil guns is perfectly fine. Like, it is completely okay. Do not worry about it. Using low recoil guns will help you out. Like, it's fine. Now, the rest of this video is pretty much just going to be me using some of my lower recoil guns that I do like, the AK-12. Another operator that I do main is Ace. He's one of those guns that is just very easy to control, so highly recommend. Zero's gun, another gun that has very low recoil but does high damage. I believe with extended barrel, 800 fire rate, I want to say. It's 50 damage, no recoil. So you're pretty much going to win most of your gunfights. You got the R4C, another great gun, very low recoil. Like I said, build your sensitivity, whatever you got to do. Good recoil control, in my opinion, is the best in this game, because, you know what I mean, as long as you have good positioning, you know what I mean, your recoil is good enough where you can shoot straight and not whiff most of your shots. The positioning will carry you, and you know what I mean, like, it's not the worst thing in the world to use other guns in this game. They don't have to be the SMG-12. They don't have to be the SMG-11. It's actually, and a lot of times, it's actually better to use a lower recoil gun, because a lot of times, like for me, when I use the SMG-11, I can't take the super long range gunfights. Like I said, I got to stay within that 15 meter area. But when I have one of these other guns that has very low recoil, I can go into that 20 meter, that 30 meter area and take these gunfights and just win them outright. You know what I mean? Because my recoil control is going to be pretty much perfect on them. And so don't feel bad about using them. Like I said, those people that use the SMG-12, the people who crutch it, whatever, like, if you're using a gun, like, literally you could just play back from them and they'll probably won't even be able, like, sometimes they'll still hit you, but most of the time, like, if you're outside that 15 meter area, like I said, they're probably going to whiff a good amount of shots, which will give you opportunities as long as you can control your gun's recoil, okay? Now, that's going to pretty much do it for today's step-by-step video. Now, like I said, muscle memory is key. build your sensitivity for a gun. If you really want to use it, you got to build your sensitivity for it. If it's like the SMG-12, SMG-11, bearing 9, F2, you just got to build your sensitivity for it, and that'll be the main thing that'll help you the most. And also, I wanted to ask you guys feedback. Now, I am using my Blue Yeti microphone for this video. I figured out how to use it on my videos from now on. So please let me know if you guys like the mic quality. And yeah, if you have any more feedback you want to give me, maybe some video ideas that you guys want me to see, you know, that type of thing, please let me know down in the comments. And I do hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. And please comment down below, feedback, everything, you know what I mean. Let me know what you liked about the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.